What up, YouTube? I am your host, Mediocre tutorials and reviews, back in here with one more video. Guys, you already know what time it is, and today, like any other day, it is time to get active. Guys, I did a video not too long ago in regards to paternity fraud and its impact on us as men, as well as the society at large. As a result of that video, I got a whole bunch of you guys that sent different messages out to me. Shout out to my Instagram at Mediocre tutorials and reviews. It's along with you know how to spell. Link down in the description box down below if you don't. So I got a whole bunch of messages from the community. Shout out to all those messages. Appreciate it. Now, I did have someone that linked me a story that I wanted to go over for you guys here today. Title of the story: me, 52-year-old man, just found out that at least 5 of my children, grown children, are not mine. Wife won't say anything. So I wanted to go over the story. I wanted to go over the background, and I wanted to give my thoughts. All right, let's just get back in there. I met my wife when we were in high school, and we married in college. We have 5 beautiful children together. Really, I consider them a total blessing, regardless of what I'm about to bring up. And up until a couple of weeks ago, I thought that we had the perfect marriage. We were typical high school sweethearts. We go out together. We never fight. I feel I've done everything a loving husband should do. Everything? I am saying this not to make myself out as the perfect husband. For my example, my work has always meant I work long hours and maybe haven't been there when she needed me. But I want to stress that I've never felt our marriage was in any trouble, and never in a million years would I ever have suspected my wife of being disloyal. She's always done everything she could to support me and to take care of our children. Let me just pause there real quick. All right. This side of the of the internet, of YouTube, you know, we talk about the idea that what are the key indicators and what are the red flags to identify some ish is amiss. It seems as though this man had no idea that anything was amiss up to this degree at all. He concedes that maybe he wasn't there all the time, but nobody's perfect. But there was apparently nothing inherent within the way that his wife was moving to understand what she was capable of. Well, we already know. Most likely, he has not been introduced to this portion of the internet, because we have some things that we identify as red flags and key indicators that might have tipped him off to something amiss. Let's keep it moving. Now, my eldest daughter recently had an ancestry test done, and the results of the ancestry test strongly suggested that I was not her father. Now, the ancestry tests are not DNA tests, by the way, but if your seed comes out with Asian Pacific Islander in her ancestry and yours does not, that's a red flag right there. You understand me? She confided this to me privately, showing me the results, and I could tell she was visibly upset by this. Of course, the first thing I did was to reassure her that no matter what, she's my daughter, and I always love her unconditionally. Now, also too, the children are between mid 20-ish to mid 30-ish. So the oldest daughter, I believe, is about 34 years old. All right. But secondly, the two of us decided to get an official paternity test, since the ancestry tests are not completely reliable. It comes back, and I am indeed not her biological father. This news really broke me. I'm ashamed to say I broke down in tears in front of my daughter. Don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed. The combination of finding out about my wife's infidelity and how upset I was making my daughter about how I was reacting. I really wish I had kept it in for her sake, but I didn't. You know what? In this particular case, you know, we talk about stoicism. I don't know how even my mid 30-year-old daughter, we take a DNA test, how I would react. I really don't. I don't. The stoicism might be out the window at that particular junction. Okay. Following this, I asked my other children, except my youngest, to come and see me. I wanted to know the extent of my wife's infidelity. If it was a one-off, I could maybe work past it, especially given how long ago it would be. However, I didn't want to tell my youngest, as she is still in school, a teenager, and I really didn't think it was appropriate to tell her yet. So what I'm getting from this is that the oldest ones are out the house. The youngest one is still in the house and would probably be the most impacted and affected because she's still young and impressionable. Okay? Still developing. We tell the other three what has happened. I reassure them that I love them unconditionally and that I'll always be their dad. But that I need to know how long this has been going on. God, I can't begin to explain how touching their reaction was. Sounds like a happy family, at least before this bullshit. They didn't care I wasn't their biological father. They were just upset at how heartbroken I was. Just from that response alone, you could tell that although he made concessions in being accountable for the amount of time that he was able to spend, this is still a strong masculine dude for his family and how in their response to him. I feel like the only thing that has kept me going these last couple of weeks is their unwavering support. So we have the paternity test for each of the three done. Not only are none of them my biological children, together 4 of my children have 3 different fathers. Which somehow made it worse. It's like she wasn't just having an ongoing affair, she was having multiple. I can't explain how this makes it worse, but it just does. Well, because it wasn't just a one-off, which you say that you can forgive, but this has gone on for multiple years with different people. All while you were providing for your family. What a sick puppy. So I confront my wife, expecting her to confess and beg for forgiveness. She doesn't confess. She doesn't even take it seriously. She says the tests just must be flawed. All 4 of them. How the hell am I supposed to take that seriously? I keep bringing it up and she keeps brushing it off, getting progressively more annoyed at me. When I bring it up, she will try to guilt trip me. We've been together since high school, she says. Do you seriously not trust me? Etc. But how am I supposed to trust her in the face of such overwhelming evidence? You're not. You're not. You know why? Because you have the data that she's a piece of shit. You have the data. The genetics don't lie at all. The genetics overstep the sign language, my friend. It oversteps it. Okay? Now that I've rambled and explained what has happened, I guess let me ask a few direct questions for advice. How can I reassure my children this doesn't change anything between us? I feel like the way I have reacted to total breakdowns has made them second guess this, despite how many times I reassure them. Well, it sounds like you are very emotionally responsible, and attentive children. I think what would ultimately lose their trust, lose their respect, is if you didn't communicate with a degree of emotion. But at the same time, I think if you lose control, complete and utter control of your emotions, and I don't think breaking down in front of your oldest daughter is going to change that relationship. But if you were to do something as serious as violence against the mother, then yes, that might lose them. How do I handle my youngest daughter? I feel like our marriage is beyond saving. Yeah, I feel like that as well. And I would need to tell my daughter something. I don't want her to know the truth until she's older. But I also don't want my wife lying and making me out to be the villain. Here's the thing. You have to make a decision for yourself of whether or not you want to continue to raise your youngest daughter. If you find out that the youngest is not yours, you have to be able to make that decision. But I will say this. She is in high school. This is not like a young lady, a young girl who you've not grown up around your entire life, right? She's not 4 years old anymore, where you can leave and there wouldn't be a negative repercussion of you leaving because she hasn't experienced you with her memory. She can't remember you that young. So this one, to me, if you decide to get the test, or maybe you just don't decide to get the test, to me, this one is completely up to you, or whatever you feel most comfortable with. If you want to leave, then absolutely leave. But if you want to continue to raise the youngest, if she's not yours, under one household, under one roof, then that's your decision. I wouldn't choose to do that if it was not mine. But I would definitely move out the household, but I'd still be a participator in her life. I absolutely would. I grew up with her for 15 years. I raised her for 15 years. I couldn't just walk completely away, especially at my age. I believe the man said he's in his mid-50s. At that point, I mean, she's damn near a family member. Sometimes, and listen, I got people in my life, some people in my life that are friends that are more active within my life than some family members. Just is what it is. Sometimes the genetics don't mean something. Is there any way at all you think that I could or should save my marriage? I've been with my wife my entire life, and it's almost impossible to see a life without her. I know the answer should be a clear-cut lever. We have 5 kids together. If there's anything that can be done to save our marriage, I want to consider it seriously. Listen, you're in your mid-50s and you've attuned yourself to the marriage lifestyle. You can't picture any other lifestyle without it. Here's what I would say. What is the chances of you leaving, going back on the dating marketplace and achieving whatever degree of happiness that you want into your life, into the future? If that's a 0% chance, or you believe it's beneath the percentage that you feel comfortable with, then this might be something that you want to try to work out. And if you do, well, you need an incredible amount of therapy. You need couples therapy. She needs singles therapy, just singly, just her, because she's not even in a state of admitting to the wrong, even with the genetics test. Okay. But here's my thing is, if I was in your situation, I would leave completely, because she shows a complete and utter lack of respect for who you are, not even just as a man, but as a human being. Not only has she continued with this throughout your marriage, but would present it with the facts, she simply shoos you away. If that's not disrespect, I don't know what is. I don't know how you could be happy tied to someone with the capability of doing some ish just like this. And here's the thing. If you choose to reconfront her about the situation, I think that you should reconfront her with all of the children present, because they all know now and they're all affected by her heinous lies, right? Well, at least not the youngest one. So you have to choose whether to get the test with her, but at least with the oldest ones, you should confront her, because at that point, not only does she have to deal with you, who she clearly doesn't respect, but she also has to deal with her children at that junction. So I think that this has to be conducted as an intervention, as what you see on that A&E television show. She comes in the door, you're sitting down with all of the oldest children, and you have a discussion. The thing is that the adult children are not old enough to have these types of discussions. They're not children. But I think that she should be absolutely confronted because everybody wants the truth. You understand me? Guys, listen, this is where I'm going to leave this particular conversation, but I wanted to be able to bring this up to be able to highlight it. Heinous acts like this that are committed, I think, can be turned into learning for each and every one of us as we try to focus and hone in on this shit like this not happening to us in the future. For those of us that have been faced with heinous-ish like this in the past, I should have said trigger alert before we got started. My apologies. But I really think that we can use conversations like this to make us all bigger, better, faster, stronger into the future. Shout out to the original poster. Thank you for sharing your story. I hope that you were able to find peace in your life after this. But I also think it's a lesson in what are the things that we can do to identify the truly virtuous and moral women that we come across in our lives, right? I wish that at some point in your past, you came across content like this on this side of the internet so you can have more in your toolkit to identify hood booger. All right. Questions, comments, concerns. Y'all already know what to do. Mediocre tutorials and reviews at gmail.com. Feel free to hit me up. Guys, Instagram, go up there. Follow your boy. I'm going to start posting up there. I still want y'all to send me content, everything like that. Last but not least, I got a Patreon. We over 600 strong, 600 in the building. We over there learning, growing, and essentially a large component of the live streams that I was typically doing on Fridays, we just do it down in the Discord server. I just actually had Blue Pill Sam come through, and we did some pre-recorded videos, and then we went down to the Discord server and had a crazy conversation. It was crazy dope. Crazy though. You understand me? Until next time, YouTube. Peace.